the little bear and secret of the moonlight. In a faraway forest, there lived a lively and curious little bear named Terry. Every day went on adventures in the forest, looking for new and exciting things. One day, he accidentally discovered a hidden path covered with wild flowers and lush grass. Looking very mysterious, it followed this path and found a beautiful lake surrounded by mountains. The moonlight. The water was clear, and Ted saw a strange glow at the bottom of the lake. He decided to explore this mysterious place and find out what secrets were hidden at the lake's bottom. Ted decided to investigate Moon Lake further over the weekend. He packed a big bag with a rope, a flashlight fluid, and some essential tools. On a clear Saturday morning, with excitement and anticipation, he had set off on his journey to the Moon Lake. When he arrived at the lake, the sunlight was shining perfectly on the water, creating a beautiful shimmer. He had walked to the edge of the lake ready to get. He found a large float in his backpack, tied it around his waist with a rope so he could float on the water and observe the lake's bottom. At first, floating on the water felt very relaxing, but then Ted noticed a strange whirlpool in the middle of the lake. It slowly pulled him toward the center of the lake. At first, Ted felt a little scared, but soon he gathered his courage and decided to see where the whirlpool would take him. As he got closer to the center, he did observe some dark shapes moving under the water. He used his flashlight to see underwater. The light went through the clear lake water, illuminating a group of small, semi-transparent, aquatic animals glowing brightly. Curious, Ted wanted to get a closer look at these creatures. Just then, Ted felt his waist floatboard swing. Looking down, he saw a small fish leaping out of the water. Curiously touching the floatboard, Ted smiled, feeling that these mysterious underwater creatures were not danger, but rather friendly, and charming. He continued to explore this mysterious lake, even more excited. The closer he got to the center, the more fantastic the underwater world, he discovered that these semi-transparent aquatic animals were not just swimming around, but were forming a circle, as if performing some kind of ritual. Unable to resist, he dived into the water to observe this magical scene up close. As he submerged, a soft and mysterious musical sound drifted through the water ripples. He discovered that the music was coming from a large shell sunk in the lake's center. The shell slightly opened, and Ted could see a soft blue light shining inside. Suddenly, the shell fully opened, and a beam of light shot out of it, straight to the sky at that moment. A strange and huge fish swam up to Ted. The fish's skin was covered in colorful scales, and its eyes looked like bright gems. It spoke to Ted with a friendly voice. "Welcome to the heart of the Moon Lake. Brave little bear. I am the guardian of the Lake Elyris." Ted looked at the scene with surprise. Feeling both excited and nervous, Lyra's continued. "This lake hides ancient secrets, only seen by pure and brave hearts. Your arrival was destined, Ted, afterward." Lyris led Ted to the place of the shell. Ted followed closely, full of curiosity and anticipation for the unknown world. Together, they passed through a series of intricate underwater passages, each colorful with vibrant coral and swaying seaweed. Finally, they arrived at a cave surrounded by various rare aquatic plants. In the center of the cave, there was a pedestal made of pure crystal with a softly glowing pearl on top. Lyris looked at the pearl and said slowly, "This pearl is the heart of the Moon Lake, holding the memories and power of all the creatures in this lake. Today, you will have the chance to touch it and feel its magic." Ted was almost speechless with excitement. As he slowly approached the shimmering pearl, the whole lake seemed to sing softly, celebrating this special moment. He reached out his little bare paw and gently touched the pearl. At that instant, a warm light poured out from the pearl, surrounding tide, making him feel a peace and strength like never before. However, at that magical moment, the lake suddenly went dark. A powerful storm swept in. Dark clouds filled the sky and thunder rumbled. It felt a strong shake, as if the entire lake bed was trembling. Lyris quickly grabbed Ted, holding him tight. Quick. We must protect the pearl, urged Lyris. He led Ted through the shaking water toward a hidden chamber. In the chamber, there was a special crystal box to protect the pearl from outside influences. As they arrived at the entrance of the chamber, a huge shadow quickly moved, blocking their way. It was a massive black fish, its eyes flashing fiercely. This fish was a rebellious creature of the lake, constantly trying to seize the pearl's power to control the entire lake. Facing each other in the chamber's entrance, Lyris and Ted prepared to protect the pearl. The black fish roared and charged at them. Although Todd was scared, with encouragement from Lyris, he found his courage. Remember the pearl's power. He took a deep breath, stepped forward. Ted raised his paw, let out a big roar, and with all his strength charged at the black fish. At the instant of contact, Ted felt the power flowing from the pearl through his body, creating a huge protective light shield around him and Lyris. The black fish was pushed back by this powerful energy and disappeared into the turbulent water. Lyris and Ted quickly put the pearl into the crystal box and sealed it securely. As the pearl was protected, the surrounding turmoil and storm gradually subsided. The lake water calmed down, and the sunlight once again pierced the clouds. Shining on the lake's surface, you did great trade. Praised Lahas today. You showed your courage and innocence. It's the key to maintaining peace in the lake. Curiously, Ted looked at Lyris and asked, "What was that black fish? Why did it want to take the pearl's power?" With a sigh, Lyris answered, "It's the shadow fish. Long ago, it was also one of the lake's guardians. But it was corrupted by the temptation of power, wanting to monopolize the pearl's power. Since then, it has been trying to break through our defenses to regain the power. Nodding Ted asked, "What was the power we used just now?" I felt like it came from the pearl exactly. That was the pearl's power. It represents the spirit and vitality of the entire light. When justice and courage are present, the pearl can exert its greatest power, explained Laris with a wise look today. With your courage, you have sparked this power, helping us once again protect the lake. Feeling proud and joyful, it had silently promised himself that he would be even braver in the future to protect this beautiful lake and his friends. With a smile, Lyris patted Ted's shoulder. "You've grown a lot, Ted. The lake and its creatures are grateful for your bravery and kindness." His words were full of encouragement and anticipation, strengthening Ted's determination to continue protecting this beautiful home in the future. As the event ended, Ted and Lyris returned from the lake bed to the surface together. The sunlight shone, and their shadows reflected on the sparkling lake. It was full of hope and determination for the future. Bidding farewell to Lyris, promising to visit often. Feeling happy on his way back through the forest, it observed every little detail, feeling the beauty of nature. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating speckled patterns on the path. Small animals happily frolicked in the forest, as if welcoming Ted's return once back home. Ted recorded his adventure in his diary. He described the beauty of the Moon Lake and the brave feat of protecting the pearl with Lyra. This experience taught him the importance of courage and responsibility, as well as how to cherish the harmony between nature and friends. As night fell, it had sat on the small wooden platform in front of his house, gazing at the starry sky. The stars twinkled, as if nodding in approval of Ted's bravery and growth of the day. Content had returned to a peaceful sleep, looking forward to more adventures in the future.
the nighttime adventure. In the distant village of Northstyle, there is a huge forest adorned with stars, known as the Firefly Forest. Various small animals live in the forest, living in peace and sharing everything the forest has to offer. In the deepest part of this forest, there's a very special place called Starlight Valley. Every night, the stars in the sky would lower their heads as if to descend into the valley, making the whole valley sparkle. In this sparkling land lived a young fox named Phil. Phil, with his curiosity, always dreamt of exploring the unknown corners of the forest. One night, while playing at the valley edge, Phil suddenly saw a strange beam of light streaking from the sky and landing on the other side of the forest. He decided that the next morning he would go and search for this mysterious light. The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight shone through the treetops into the Firefly Forest, the little fox, Phil, got up. He wagged his tail, feeling excited and with curiosity about the mysterious light from the night before. He began his adventure. Phil followed the forest's paths, passing through blueberry bushes and wildflower fields, crossing a stream, and finally arriving at the place where the light had fallen the night before. They're surrounded by dense bushes. Was a small clearing with a peculiar stone. At its center, the stone was engraved with strange symbols, and there was a faint golden aura around it. As Phil approached to inspect the stone, it suddenly emitted a soft glow, appearing both mysterious and beautiful. Just as he curiously touched the stone with his paw, a gust of wind blew, and the light from the stone grew stronger though. A beam of light shot out from the stone, pointing into distance. Phil was surprised to see that the light had formed a path, seeming guiding him to an unknown place. After a moment's hesitation, Phil decided to follow this path of light and see where it would lead him. Phil followed the path of light, passing through winding paths and dense forests, eventually arriving in an open area. This place was entirely different from the rest of the forest. It was filled with peculiar flowers that exuded a magical fragrance, giving the air a special feeling. The path of light finally stopped in front of a huge crystal-like ball. Shimmering with an enchanting glow, standing before the giant crystal-like ball, Phil gazed at the shimmering light inside suddenly. The crystal began to spin, emitting a gentle music. The music made Phil feel both calm and excited, and his tail began to wag involuntarily silly. The light from the crystal focused into a beam that shot into the sky, forming a bridge of light, connecting the area with the horizon. At that moment, a gigantic butterfly flew from the other side of the forest. Its wings, shimmering with vibrant colors that competed with the stars in the night sky. The butterfly descended next to the crystal ball, transforming into a colorful dressed old lady. She nodded at Phil and started to tell him the secret of the crystal ball. It turned out that the crystal ball was an ancient magical source, connecting different worlds with reality. Every full moon night, the crystal ball would select a brave hero and guide them to complete a special task. Tonight, Phil was the chosen one. The old lady told Phil that the magical flowers in the forest were wilting, and to save the flower fields, he needed to fetch the water of life from the distant Silvermoon Mountains. She pointed at a map displayed inside the crystal ball, marking a route to the Silvermoon Mountains. But the journey was perilous, filled with unknown challenges. Though scared, Phil looked at the withering flowers around him, which made him determined. With the old lady's blessing, he set out on the journey to the Silvermoon Mountains. Along the way, he had to traverse the gloomy darkwood forest and cross the relentless blue peaks, with each step testing his courage, and with following the map's directions. Phil first headed to the mysterious darkwood forest. The forest was dimly lit, and strange sounds occasionally filled the air, making Phil's heart race. He had to carefully evade traps and lurking beasts along the way. Whenever he felt afraid and hesitant, he would recall the light from the crystal ball and the old lady's words gathering courage to continue moving forward. After a long and arduous journey, Phil finally reached the foothills of the Silver Moon Mountains. The peaks soared into the clouds, their snow-capped tops shining like dazzling silver under the moonlight. Faced with such a spectacular sight, Phil felt both excited and nervous, knowing that the true challenge was just beginning. According to the mate, the water of life lay on the other side of the mountains, and he needed to pass through the entire range to reach it. Phil began to climb the steep ridges, each step requiring careful attention due to frequent rock slides and avalanche. In addition, cold and fierce winds in the mountains made the journey more difficult. As the altitude increased, the temperature dropped, and Phil's limbs began to feel numb, each breath feeling like inhaling icy blades. Just when he was almost ready to give up, he saw a rock high up ahead with strange blue flowers blooming, known as the ice dew flower. A mysterious bloom said to guide the source of life. Phil renewed his determination and made a desperate effort to climb the rock. As he neared it, a large snow wolf sprang out from behind the rock. Its eyes glinted with cold light, clearly indicating this was its territory, and Phil was an unwelcome visitor. The snow wolf let out a deep growl, pouncing toward Phil in a menacing posture, causing an unprecedented fear in the young fox. In this critical moment, Phil thought quickly. He remembered the old lady's teachings. Courage and wisdom were equally important when facing adversity. Rapidly assessing his surroundings, he noticed the rolling stones and loose snow on the ground. Using these elements, he cleverly created small traps while running, attempting to make the snow wolf slip. A tense chase and evasion unfolded on the cold, snowy mountain. Despite being much smaller than the massive snow wolf, Phil's wit and agility eventually created a small trap using the rolling snow and stones, causing the wolf to slip, allowing him to gain precious time. He quickly leaped onto the rock, plucked an ice dew flower, and before the snow wolf could regain its balance, continued his journey towards the location of the water of life. With the ice dew flower in hand, Phil finally reached the other side of the Silver Moon Mountains. Before him lay a peaceful lake lit by the moon. Its water clear and reflective, shimmering with the essence of life. In the middle of the lake, a colossal stone monument stood, inscribed with ancient runes and surrounded by soft blue lights. Approaching the edge of the lake, Phil gently placed the ice dew flower into the water. As soon as the flower touched the surface, the entire lake began emitting soft waves of light. Its radiance growing brighter suddenly. The lake began to rotate, forming a water column from which strands of light drifted outward, spreading in every direction. These lights fell upon the surrounding trees and plants, revitalizing them instantly, infusing them with a vibrant life force. That moment, a crystal-like vessel rose from the center of the lake, containing the water of life, emitting a faint glow. It was the much-needed source of life. Phil carefully took the vessel, feeling a warm surge enveloping his entire body, sweeping away exhaustion and chill. With the water of life in hand, Phil began his journey back along the way. He noticed that all the places he passed through, be it the desolate mountains or the gloomy forest, were gradually being revived under the light of the water of life. Animals joyfully leaped through the woods, and flowers blossomed, as if the entire world was being reawakened. After enduring a tiring and challenging journey, Phil gained a new understanding of his strength. He felt a sense of fulfillment and pride, realizing that he was not just a young fox, but a true little hero. Eventually, Phil returned to the Firefly Forest with the water of life. He found the old lady, handed her the precious water, and she, with a smile, nourished the entire flower fields with the water of life, allowing the Firefly Forest to bloom once more, enabling countless creatures to continue growing and frolicking freely in this land. Standing amidst the lush flowers, Phil watched the miracles around him. feeling satisfied and happy under the night sky of Starlight Valley. Bill sat on a glowing boulder with the old lady, gazing at the blooming firefly forest. Creatures of the forest surrounded them, joyfully celebrating the forest's rebirth. At the moment, a gentle breeze drifted in from the horizon, bringing the fragrance of an unknown world. The old lady looked at Phil, her eyes lighting up with approval. She told Phil that this was his night of glory, and the stars were all witnessing his bravery. She then bestowed upon Phil a small medal adorned with starlight, as a recognition of his courage and wisdom. As Phil held the medal, he felt a power he had never experienced before surging within him. He looked up at the bright night sky, feeling a subtle connection between himself and the stars. As the night gradually descended, Phil, under the illumination of the stars, set out on the familiar path to return home. He knew that from now, no matter what challenges he would encounter, as long as he maintained courage and wisdom, nothing would be impossible. The lost little starlight. In the depths of a distant ocean, there stood a shimmering underwater town called Coral Valley. It was home to various marine creatures who harmoniously coexisted, collectively safeguarding their home. At the heart of Coral Valley lay a special pearl named the Star of Hope, which emitted a gentle light every night, brightening the entire town. The residents of Coral Valley believed that as long as the Star of Hope continued to shine, the town would always be filled with hope and happiness. However, this serene underwater town was about to face an unexpected upheaval. One night, a strong current suddenly swept through Coral Valley, causing the Star of Hope to be dislodged from the coral tower and fall to the ocean floor. The following morning, when the residents discovered that the Star of Hope was missing, the entire town plunged into unprecedented panic and unease. In this crisis, a brave little fish named Bluey stepped forward, embarking on a journey to find the lost Star of Hope, carrying with her the legends and hopes of the older residents of the town. Bluey's journey was far from ordinary. Setting out from Coral Valley, her first encounter was with Jerry, a clever sea turtle. Jerry informed Bluey that during the sea current, he had seen a bright light drift towards the dark abyss in the... Bluey and Jerry decided to venture together into the abyss to retrieve the Star of Hope. As they travelled northward, they encountered a dangerous area known as the Shallow Whirlpool, where powerful currents and huge waves were common. To safely navigate this area, they sought the assistance of Goldie, a lionfish skilled in swimming in strong currents. With Goldie's help, they skillfully avoided being swept into the whirling vortex. Continuing further, they arrived at an area covered with seagrass, where a group of clever little shrimp lived. Swiftly moving through the gaps in the seagrass, Bluey asked the shrimps about the whereabouts of the Star of Hope. The shrimps mentioned that on a certain night, they had seen a dazzling star fall on the other side of the seagrass, where there was a giant anemone. Upon reaching the territory of the anemone, they were confronted by the anemone king, who claimed that the Star of Hope now belonged to him, and that no one could take it away. Bluey attempted to communicate with the anemone king, explaining the importance of the star to Coral Valley, but the anemone king adamantly refused to yield. The situation seemed to reach an impasse. Bluey had to find a way to bring the Star of Hope back home and restore the light and hope of Coral Valley. Facing the stubborn anemone king and his territory, Bluey did not give up hope. She repeatedly requested the king to reconsider while trying to find peaceful solutions to replace the Star of Hope. It was then that Bluey recalled a story the village elder had told, emphasizing the importance of coexistence and harmony among marine creatures. Bluey decided to hold an underwater feast, inviting the anemone king and other marine creatures in an attempt to dissolve the tension through shared celebration. At the feast, Bluey showcased the friendliness and goodwill of the residents of Coral Valley, sharing how they relied on the Star of Hope to maintain trust and hope among each other. The Anemone King was moved by Blue's sincerity and began to reconsider his position in the atmosphere of the feast. The Anemone King also shared his dilemmas and dependence on the Star of Hope. He proposed a solution if Blue could help him find an alternative light source that could substitute for the Star of Hope. He would be willing to return the star. Bluey accepted the challenge and started to search for potential solutions. With Jerry Goldie and some new friends, they explored uncharted waters, looking for potential light sources. They found the answer in a rare group of glowing corals. These corals emitted a soft light at night, perfect for illuminating the Anemone King's territory. Returning with the corals to the Anemone King, he was very pleased with this new light source. True to his promise, he returned the Star of Hope to Blue. Through this experience, Bluey not only rescued the Star of Hope, but also learned how to resolve conflicts through communication and understanding, witnessing the mutual support and cooperation among different marine creatures. After the Anemone King agreed to return the Star of Hope, Bluey and her friends began their journey back to Coral Valley. However, the ocean is always full of surprises. Just as they were nearing their hometown, a sudden underwater storm arose. Dust was stirred up. Visibility became extremely low, and the strong currents made it difficult for the travelers to stabilize themselves. In the chaos, Bluey clung tightly to the Star of Hope. But the force of the rushing water made it difficult for her to hold on. That moment, a giant octopus suddenly emerged from the darkness, its tentacles reaching for the Star of Hope. Bluey tried to evade, but in the harsh conditions and the pursuit of the octopus, the situation grew increasingly perilous. Seeing the situation, Jerry and Goldie immediately stepped in, attempting to protect Bluey and divert the octopus's attention. Utilizing its agile body, Goldie swiftly moved through the water, drawing the attention of the octopus. Meanwhile, Jerry used his hard shell to withstand the attacks, buying time for Bluey to escape. During the most tense moment, Bluey ingeniously used the surrounding rocks to evade the octopus and temporarily hid in a narrow cave, escaping the octopus's sight. After a fierce delay and diversion, the octopus eventually gave up the pursuit, as it couldn't find Bluey and slowly retreated. After the storm passed, the ocean returned to calmness, although exhausted. Bluey and her friends understood that only by standing united could they overcome the obstacles ahead. With the Star of Hope once again in her hands, Bluey knew that this was not just her victory, but a collective one for all the residents of Coral Valley. After a series of adventures and challenges, Bluey finally returned safely with the Star of Hope to Coral Valley. The residents had already heard the news of Blue's impending return and gathered on the ocean path, awaiting her arrival. As they saw Bluey waving the dazzling starlight, the entire Coral Valley erupted into cheers and applause. The village elder was the first to welcome her, thanking her for bringing back hope and light to their hometown. To celebrate the return of the Star of Hope, Coral Valley held a grand festival. During the festival, Blue shared her adventure, from the seahorse in the seagrass forest to the battles in the deep sea fissures, and the reconciliation with the anemone king. Each story left the audience amazed. While sharing her experiences, Bluey revealed an important discovery. She realized that the Star of Hope was not just a symbol, but a force that could unite the residents of Coral Valley, rallying them together to face difficulties. She emphasized that even though the Star of Hope had returned to Coral Valley, every resident should have their own Star of Hope in their hearts, encouraging everyone to continue maintaining this unity and courage in the days to come. At this moment, the evening sky over Coral Valley was particularly bright because the Star of Hope had been placed back on top of the coral tower. The starlight once again illuminated the entire town, filling every corner with warmth and hope. As Bluey shared her stories, the residents looked at the resplendent star, feeling grateful and proud. They understood that no matter how challenging the future paths, maybe as long as their hearts held light, hope would always be present. After the festival ended, Bluey and the residents of the village worked together to clean up the traces left by the storm around Coral Valley, collectively rebuilding their beautiful home. Throughout the restoration process, each person demonstrated unprecedented unity and effort, derived from the confidence and courage brought by the Star of Hope. With time, Coral Valley not only regained its former beauty, but also became stronger and more united because of the shared trials of the residents. Bluey often stood by the coral tower, looking at the shimmering star of hope. She knew that this star not only illuminated Coral Valley, but also enlightened the heart of every resident. As the story concluded, Coral Valley welcomed a tranquil night. The sea surface calm as a mirror, with starlight reflecting on the water. Shining alongside the Star of Hope, Blue sat on the shore, listening to the gentle lapping of the waves against the shore, feeling peaceful and content. She deeply understood that every day in Coral Valley would become brighter because of everyone's efforts. The Secret of Willow Valley. In a faraway place called Willow Valley, there lived a young girl named Ella had blonde, golden hair and curious blue eyes. One day, she was playing in the grassy field near the village, just as she always did. The butterflies and little rabbits in the field were her good friends. As the sun started to set, the shadows on the grass grew longer. But Ella didn't want to go home suddenly. A gust of wind blew, and the fallen leaves lightly brushed against Ella's face. A small butterfly with shiny golden spots landed on her shoulder. The butterfly fluttered its wings gently, as if inviting her to follow. Ella felt very surprised and decided to go on an adventure with this extraordinary butterfly. It led her through a dense thicket and brought her to a mysterious place she had never seen before Willow Valley. Following the butterfly into Willow Valley, Ella saw such a place for the first time. The willow trees in the valley stood tall and wide, their branches hanging down like natural green curtains. Sunlight filtered through the gaps, casting dappled shadows, and the air carried a fresh, slightly damp scent. Suddenly, Ella heard the sound of water. She followed the sound and found a small lake hidden behind the willow trees. The water was clear, and a few beautiful lilies floated on the surface. Ella crouched down and gently touched the water with her hand, feeling a cool and soft sensation she had never experienced before. That's when she noticed a strangely shaped stone by the edge of the lake, with some symbols on it that she couldn't understand. Curiosity sparked in Ella, and she tried to figure out what these symbols meant. At that moment, a deep voice spoke. It was a slow-moving turtle, and it also had patterns similar to those on the stone. The turtle, named Toby, said, "Hello, little girl. I'm Toby. This stone is the guardian stone of our Willow Valley, and it holds the secrets of the valley." Ella was amazed. She hadn't expected to meet a talking turtle. "What are these secrets?" she asked, curious. Looking around mysteriously, Toby said, "There's an ancient treasure hidden here, but only someone with a truly pure and brave heart can find it. If you're willing, I can take you on an adventure." Ella eagerly agreed without hesitation. She followed Toby into Willow Valley, and along the way, she saw many marvelous creatures, shimmering fireflies, dancing squirrels, and leisurely strolling fawns. Everywhere in Willow Valley was full of magic and life. As Ella and Toby ventured deeper into the heart of Willow Valley, the surroundings became even more enchanting. Toby led her to a small stream surrounded by huge flowers, where water flowed gently between the rocks and flowers, making a crisp sound. The flowers not only had bright colours, but also emitted a faint glow that lit up their... "We're getting close to the treasure's location," Toby whispered. Excitement and anticipation shone in Ella's eyes. She'd always loved adventure stories, and now she was experiencing a real adventure herself. They continued on and arrived at moss covered stone steps. At the top of the steps was a stone door with intricate carvings, similar to the symbols she had seen on the Guardian stone. Toby pointed at the carvings and said, "To open this door, we need to solve this puzzle." Ella carefully studied the carvings, trying to find a pattern after some thought. She pressed certain symbols with her hand at first. Nothing happened. But when she pressed the third symbol, the stone door shuddered slightly and then slowly swung open. Behind the door was a hidden cave, surrounded by stone walls, dimly lit but filled with sparkling crystals, reflecting colourful light that illuminated the entire cave. Ella and Toby entered the cave and found a small circular clearing inside. In the centre of the clearing sat an ancient wooden box, covered in dust. Toby said, "The treasure is here. Are you ready?" Ella nodded, then carefully approached the box and opened it slowly. The hinges creaked, as if the box hadn't been opened in a long time. As Ella slowly opened the box, a bright beam of light shot out from inside, illuminating the entire cave. Countless tiny golden particles floated in the air, dancing like golden snowflakes. Ella's eyes widened in amazement at this miraculous sight. Inside the box was a transparent crystal ball with a tiny point of light inside. As the light refracted, the entire cave seemed to be filled with its warm glow. Suddenly, the crystal ball started to vibrate, and the light point expanded into a series of images. Ella saw scenes from the past of Willow Valley lush forests, fresh streams, happy animals, and children like her laughing and playing in this land. In the images, a winged woman appeared, holding the crystal ball. Everything around her was vibrant because of her. Ella realized that this woman had been the guardian of this land. After a while, the images gradually faded, and the light inside the crystal ball dimmed. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the cave, and the crystals in the cave made a pleasant sound, as if echoing the scenes displayed in the crystal ball. Ella felt a strong sense of responsibility. She understood that the treasure she had found was not just a beautiful item, but also a significant responsibility. She needed to continue the story of Willow Valley and protect this land she had never truly understood before. At that moment, urgent calls echoed from outside the cave. Ella looked up and saw Toby and several animals from the village rushing towards the cave with anxious and worried expressions. Between breaths, Toby said to Ella, "Something big has happened in the village. Developers from outside the valley have come, and they plan to cut down the trees in Willow Valley to build a large shopping centre." Ella was shocked and worried when she heard this. She tightly held the crystal ball in her hand, feeling a subtle wave coming from it down. She remembered the images she had seen in the crystal ball and the mysterious woman. It seemed she understood something. Ella looked at Toby and the other animals. Determination shining in her eyes, she said to them, "We can't let this happen. Willow Valley is not just our home. It also carries the history and future of this land." Toby and the other animals nodded. They understood the importance of Willow Valley. Ella continued, "I saw many things about the valley's past in this crystal ball. It shows that our valley is alive and should not be destroyed." After that, Ella, Toby, the other animals, and the village children proposed a plan. They decided to show the beauty and importance of Willow Valley to the outside world, to make people understand the serious consequences of destroying this land. Over the next few days, Ella led everyone to collect a lot of evidence and materials about the ecology and history of Willow Valley. They prepared many information boards detailing each plant, every creature, and their role in the ecosystem. Ella also created vivid images based on what she saw in the crystal ball, showcasing the valley's past prosperity and its contributions to the surrounding environment. She hoped that through these efforts, they could touch the hearts of those who planned to destroy the valley's nature. During this process, Ella not only learned a lot about nature and conservation, but also felt the power of teamwork and the importance of unity. The atmosphere was no longer tense and fearful, but filled with hope and determination. Finally, The day of the exhibition arrived. Ella and all the villagers placed all the materials and display boards they had prepared in the village square. Many visitors and representatives of the developers were also invited to the exhibition. The visitors were deeply moved by the beauty of Willow Valley and the villagers' efforts. They stood in front of the display boards for a long time, listening to the stories behind each board being explained by the villagers. The representatives of the developers saw this and began to reconsider their development plans. At the end of the meeting, the developers announced that they had decided to cancel their plan to build a shopping centre in Willow Valley and to discuss with Ella and the villagers how to protect this precious natural resource. The villagers and animals cheered, thanking Ella for her bravery and persistence, as well as everyone's joint efforts. Willow Valley was preserved, and the story of harmony with nature became famous far and wide. In the radiant light of sunset, Ella stood in the valley, looking at the land she had guarded with her heart, filled with peace and joy.